Temple and Cultural Center here in Washington. We'd like to welcome Swami Sarveshanandaji from Chinmaya Mission. Swamiji will be talking about Lalita Sahasranama and the importance of Devi Navaratri as part of his speech today. Welcome to Seattle and to Hindu Temple Cultural Center, Swamiji. Thank you.
Thank you, Satish. It's a joy to see that all across US there are so many such beautiful temples that are coming along. And as many come with devoted heart and invoke that blessing. Because our way of seeking blessing is not just for I, me, myself. Our prayers themselves say, Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu. And may our prayers through such amazing institutions like here bring that auspiciousness. Thank you for having us here. I'll start with 3 Oms, Sahanavavati, and then we will begin. तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणि नमोऽस्तुते। नारायणि नमोऽस्तुते। Happy Navaratri to all of you. Navaratri is a very important festival in our Vaidika Sampradaya. And among those 9 days, today happens to be the 5th day. And these 9 days traditionally are invoked to worship the mother in her all grandeur. There are various traditions across through various practitioners, and India or Bharat is such varied country. When I come across an interaction with the locals here, and then they say, how varied? So I give them a little sampler. I ask them, how many languages could there be in India? Can anybody guess? one for every state. But there are about 9 or 10 states which speak Hindi. 14. There are 23 official languages in India and about 1600 dialects. Which means for every 70 to 80 kilometers that you travel, there is a new dialect, a new accent, a new language. But in spite of these variations, one thing that binds everyone together is this Vaidika Samskriti. Vaidika Samskriti, also known as the Sanatana Dharma. Vaidika Samskriti because Vedas are our pramana. Veda, which has the 4 categories or 4 books in it, Rig, Yajur, Sam, Atharva Veda. And accordingly, through that Vedic tradition, these 9 days are celebrated within the 4 South Indian states in a one flavor. Each state has its own flavor. And you go to Orissa, Calcutta, they have a firm dedication to Bhadrakali. So they invoke all 9 days Bhadrakali. And you go further north, there is a different tradition. I was just told that today there will be, monthly they should have once at least Mata Ki Chauki, wherein Chauki is the presence of that mother, and they chant or they sing till midnight. And during these 9 days, they have Mata Ki Jagran. The whole night they will sing. And that has a slice of that flavor Sushil ji gave us today with a good accompaniment by Seema ji. There's something similar to that, times as many singers, as many players, as many instruments. It's a very lively show. There's a very lively presence to tune our minds to that divine. In the Vedic tradition, these 9 days, as they are prescribed, the first 3 days is invocation of Durga Devi. The second 3 days are for invoking Lakshmi Devi, and the last 3 days is for invoking Saraswati Devi. Durga Devi's invocation, because it is a very terrifying and yet a form of raw energy which requires that raw energy to be invoked to clear, to purify, and to clean our own minds from inside out. Because if we look into our own perspective into ourselves, we would see that, and of course, if you want to display it, it may not be same truthful, honest. But if we are doing a self-evaluation between the good traits, positive qualities that we can have versus all the other aberrations that we go through, our mind goes through, when we put them into an equation, one speaks volume. And in order to work through these different mental agitations like Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsara, Asmita, Raga, Abhinivesha, I can go on, and their cousins, the intellect requires some kind of stamina, some kind of nishtha. And these 3 days are invoked to provide that strength to that intellect so that it can work on its lower self, to clear that lower self so that it can rise above it. Now, clearing it is one effort. After having cleared it, like for example, you move from an apartment into your own house. Apartment was what, 800 to 1000 square feet. So your requirements were very little. As you moved into a little bigger house, you now own it. All that which you had in the apartment now is like in one corner of that house. It's a new one, so now you have to furnish it further. Similarly, once the lower aspect is cleared out, we need to furnish, we need to equip the antakarana or the internal equipment of the mind and intellect with positive qualities. Lakshmi Devi is not just about the bank balance. Because we usually come and worship Lakshmi Devi because she is the Dhana Lakshmi. In fact, Lakshmi Devi has all her 8 aspects. Dhana Lakshmi, Dhanya Lakshmi, Vidya Lakshmi, Saubhagya Lakshmi, Santana Lakshmi, various aspects of her. And all these positive traits have to be invoked. And clearing it of the negativities is not enough. As they say, an empty mind is a very specific workshop. So you cannot leave it empty. It has to be now furnished. It has to be equipped with positive qualities. So therefore we invoke Lakshmi Devi. Having thus invoked the positive traits, having thus invoked the values into our life, turning those values into virtues. The difference between values and virtues: values are understood, values are respected. But when that same value, that which we respect, when we start imbibing in our day-to-day life, and it reflects in our day-to-day actions, then that value becomes our virtue. So such a virtuous person, having invoked in the 3 days of Lakshmi Puja, then Saraswati Devi is invoked. And Saraswati Devi is the very representation of Sat Vidya Swarupini, the absolute knowledge of Supreme, the knowledge of self-liberation or moksha. And thus, having established, abiding in that moksha swarupa, the 10th day becomes Vijaya Dashami, the true celebration of victory. True celebration of victory where? Victory of my own self over my own self. As in Bhagavad Gita, there is this shloka, Uddharet Atmanatmanam na Atmanam avasadayet. Atmaiva hyatmano bandhu, Atmaiva ripuratmanaha. Who is the greatest enemy or stumbling block for us? Our own mind with its lower nature. And who is our greatest friend? Our own mind equipped with positive traits. And who has to make that choice? I as this individual, I as this sadhaka, I as this mumukshu have to make that choice. The difference between a common person, a pamara, versus a mumukshu is a mumukshu focuses on equipping these qualities to grow and make that choice and leave the rest of the happenings of life as Bhagavat Prasada. Whereas the pamara or the commoner, what do? They do the exact thing but in a little opposite way. They do their day-to-day and leave the sadhana for God's grace. When will you come for satsang? When will you do your sadhana? When will you do your upasana? When will you increase your bhakti? Bhagavat Kripa, whenever it happens, Hari Ichha. It should be the other way around. And when that is taken sincerely, we often use the word seriously. Seriousness usually comes with its own baggage of pressure. You don't need to be serious, but you have to be definitely sincere. With Shraddha, when we apply ourselves sincerely, then Vijaya Dashami is a possibility. Now, to understand that, we have these 10 days, wherein 9 days is of importance and focus. Then the 10th day can be a celebratory moment in our life. First aspect. The second aspect is that Devi is invoked and worshipped in various forms. And when you look at these various forms, where do we get all these various forms and the various beautiful stories of Devi? It comes in Devi Bhagavata. It also comes in Lalita Sahasranama. Now, Lalita Sahasranama is an integral part of Brahmanda Purana. Now, before we step into Lalita Sahasranama as such, we would not be sitting here celebrating our festivals, and that too, tens and thousands of miles away, sitting here in Washington State, in this temple, gathering here to celebrate these 10 days would not have been a possibility if it were not for this grand vision of Bhagavan Veda Vyasa Maharaj. In our system of worship, there are so many traditions, sampradayas. There are Vaishnava, Shaiva, Shakta, Ganapatya, Saurya. Then there is Advaita, Vishishtadvaita, Dvaita, Nimbarka, Gaudiya. There are so many sampradayas. But all of these sampradayas together, they offer their salutations and thankfulness to one single individual on Guru Purnima. And that is to this Bhagavan Veda Vyasa. I said, well, why do you do so? What is his contribution? Now, when you look at it, you would say, what is not his contribution? Up until Veda Vyasa Bhagavan's time, the Vedic literature and abhyasa of the Vedic literature was happening through Shravana. Therefore, it is called Shruti. The Vedas are also known as Shruti. Even at his time, he could see the capacity of the individual to remember, retain, and reproduce. You can reproduce only if it is retained. You can retain it if it is remembered. That those capacities were dwindling. And he brought in this revolutionary concept of writing all this Vedic knowledge in a written format. Bruhat Karya. It takes at least about 40 plus years to memorize those whole things. And he spent his entire effort in gathering it from different Gurukulas and systematically organizing it in such a way that it is accessible. And to that itself, we should have been quite thankful for his efforts. But he didn't just stop there. So if you look at our scriptural vastness, the Mukhya Grantha of Hindu, like we say, when we are asked, what is a Hindu scripture? Our answer should have been that it is Veda. Veda is our scripture. That is the main scripture. The rest of them are put in three other categories. So Veda is called Shruti. Then comes Smriti. Smriti Grantha is that which gives us a very specific directives as to how each one of us can lead an efficient way of life. Now, when you came into this country, I'm sure you all had to read through that book which has red, green, yellow pattern. Everybody would have read that. It is a book that you have to go through to apply for your license. Let me check if you remember it. Do you remember the book? Okay, good. At a stop sign, what does that book suggest? That you have to stop there for, if there is no other traffic, you have to stop at least for 2 seconds. And how do you count that 2 seconds? One, two, when you count it, it doesn't amount up to 1 second.
1001.
Yes, sir.
You know, the appropriate is called Ek Swaminarayan, Do Swaminarayan, Do Second.
But that is not what the book says.
I'm sad.
You have changed the question paper. One Mississippi, two Mississippi. One Mississippi is 1 second, two Mississippi is 2 seconds, and then you look at who has arrived first, give them the right of the way, then you get the right of your way to pass through. Not now, sweetheart, later. So there is that. And that book, what does it contain? It contains all that which is required for us to study, learn, and know how efficiently to drive through so that I can be safe as well as others be safe. Right? Is it a requirement? Yes. Otherwise, when you drive in India, if there is a free road, I'm even more conscious, even more alert. Why? Just because the road is empty, the other side fellow will also come this side. You have to know the rules and apply it. Similarly, in the road of life, how and what has to be applied, that which tells us is called Smriti Grantha. Shruti, Smriti. Then we have the Smriti Granthas were also given by Vedavyas Maharaj. Can you imagine his vision? That he just didn't write one particular aspect and leave it. He covered the entire Shrutis, compiled it. He didn't write it, he compiled it. Then he composed Smriti. Then he gave us Shruti, Smriti, Itihasa. There are 2 Itihasas. One of the Itihasa is Ramayana, and that Ramayana is written by Valmiki Maharshi. Now Valmiki Maharshi's Ramayana has how many shlokas? About 24,000 shlokas. Similarly, how many shlokas does Vedavyas Bhagavan's Mahabharata have? Only about 100,000. Only. And I have had the sacred opportunity to be with at least 2 or 3 of them, who knew the entire Mahabharata memorized. The entire 100,000 was on their fingertips. I have had the opportunity to sit down and have a few months of dialogue on Mahabharata, understanding Mahabharata from them, what a treat it was. So Mahabharata and Ramayana are the Itihasa. Shruti, Smriti, Itihasa. And the last portion of our scriptures is called Purana. And in order to come to this Purana, I explained the earlier 3. Now what is Purana? Please don't try to interpret Purana from Hindi language understanding. Because each language has its own meaning for some similar looking words. Now when we look at, say, somebody says, any Malayalis here? Okay. If they say chor, it is not the Hindi meaning. It means cooked rice. Any Tamilians here? Very good. If they say parp, it is cooked dal. Any Telugu people? If they say parp, what does it mean in Telugu? Bedding. One language word in other language will have a different meaning. So Purana in Hindi means old. But in Sanskritam, Purana, it doesn't mean old. Purana means that which is ancient and yet which retains its own glow of freshness. Pura Abhinava. How can that be? So I read this billboard, very beautiful caption it had. It said, "A good advice never gets old. If it is really good and stands the test of time, then it becomes a proverb." Now that assimilation is called Purana. Now when we want to study this Purana, Vedavyasa Bhagavan, thanks to him, in our Vedic Samskriti, we have various forms of that Parabrahma Swarupa appearing in different forms of deities. There is one Paramatma Swarupa, and that Paramatma Swarupa expresses depending on, I would say in today's language, job description. Depending on the job description, like say he takes the job description of creation. What is that Paramatma Swarupa called as? Brahma. So you get the example. So it appears in so many different aspects, forms. So what has he done? He has gathered all the stories of these different deities and compiled them into grantha, into books. The story of that particular deity, the story of the devotees of that particular deity, and the interactions of those deities and the interaction of those devotees and their sadhana as to how they have tuned themselves to acquire that sakshatkara of that form of Lord. In today's world, we all, because we have our children interested in such things, we are all aware of Chronicles of Narnia. Have you guys heard of it? Everybody has heard of it. Now, similarly, a chronological gathered information compiled about one particular form of deity. The chronicles compiled chronologically of one particular deity is called a Purana. The chronological compilation of the chronicles of Ganesha is called Ganesha Purana. A chronological compilation of the stories of Vishnu are called Vishnu Purana. Similarly, though there is an entire volume dedicated to various aspects of Devi, in Brahmanda Purana, there is this beautiful mention. Now, all these were composed by who? Vedavyasa Bhagavan. So, Brahmanda Purana also is composed by Bhagavan Vedavyasa. So, you would start always with Sri Vedavyasa. And his way of compiling these stories was that Pura Ekasmin Kale, long time ago, Naimisharanya, in a kshetra called Naimisharanya, there were these people who were performing Satra Yaga. Have you ever done any Havan? You performing it? No? Yes? शादी में तो क्या होगा? So when you sit in that Havan, there is a lot of fire and that exposure to that heat and that smoke and so these people who are doing Satra Yaga, they were in multiples of 41 days, Mandala Paryanta. So they would spend their entire mornings in the Yaga. In the afternoon, they'll have a very small lunch and then spend from that afternoon till late in the evening in Bhagavad Katha. It's not like today wherein a group of Indians gather and they have a lot of time to kill, as if time is at their disposal. What do? One of the most useless things Antyakshari. And don't look at me like that and say, Swami, hum nahi karte, kiya ho. You must have. But these rishis and these munis who were sitting and doing the Satra Yaga, in the later afternoon till late evening, they would ask this Suta Mahashaya, tell us the story of this particular form of deity. And that is how the dialogue begins. And understanding the Purana, you require special alertness. It is not like Bhagavad Gita, wherein who is the speaker and the listener? Very good. Though actually there are 4 sets. There is Dhritarashtra asking the question and Sanjaya responding to him. Bhagavan Krishna uplifting that despondent mind of Arjuna, and a dialogue between Bhagavan Krishna and Arjuna. This was narrated by Bhagavan Vedavyas ji, and he had the first world-class stenographer. Is Ganesh ji. They both also having a dialogue. Do you know who is the 4th one? Bhagavad Gita, man. Not Bhagavata. Arjuna is also known as Kapit Dhwaja. So on his chariot, there was Hanumanji sitting, and he also heard it. In fact, the first commentary on Bhagavad Gita was given by Hanumanji. Unintended listener. He was not the actual proposed listener. So it's very simple. There are only few sets of listener and speaker. But when you come to the Purana Shaili, like say for example, in Yudhishthira's Rajasuya Yaga, this comes in Bhagavatam. In Yudhishthira's Rajasuya Yaga, you know when it happened? When they built their Indraprastha, he performed Rajasuya Yaga, and during that Rajasuya Yaga, there was the Upachara that had to be done, that the most Sreshta, his Pada Puja had to be performed, and there was a proposal that it should be Bhishma, because he was the eldermost, and Bhishma chose Bhagavan Krishna. How can anybody be, offered that with having Bhagavan Krishna's presence? He should be performed. He should be offered that puja. Then there is our Sishupada and Dantavakra. They take to their spree of Ashtottara Shatanamavali of a different kind. 100 names. They were not repeating the names, they were calling names. And in that incident, everybody witnesses that Sishupala and Dantavakra's Jivatma merges into that Bhagavan. So Yudhishthira is confused. So he asks Narada, hey Bhagavan, how can it be that such reckless, useless people, they also get an opportunity to merge with that Bhagavan? And in order to explain that, Naradji gives a story saying, Pura ekasmin kale, long time ago, the same kind of question was asked by Maitreya Rishi, and in answering his question, Bharadwaja talked about Brahmaji, who was asked by the similar kind of a question. You see the layers that are building up? And suddenly there will be like 6-7 stories, and in that story there will be a reference of something else. If you are even losing a moment, and suddenly you come back and you hear that there is, this Rishi spoke. So where did this Rishi come from? Well, there is a sequence. So Puranic study requires a different skill set. So in Brahmanda Purana, Agastya Rishi happens to have a dialogue with Hayagriva. There are two Hayagreevas, don't get confused. One was an Asura, the other one was a avatar of Bhagavan Vishnu. And he is known for his very presence was known as the embodiment of all knowledge. Hayagrivam upasmahe. So those who are invoking that knowledge, they do the Hayagriva upasana. So Agastya Rishi had this opportunity to ask. And in responding to him, saying, this beautiful form of Devi, that was the specific question, is Lalita Ambika. And these are the 1,000 aspects of that Lalita Ambika. From various Puranas, various aspects, all the stories of Devi are gathered, and each story has a particular name. Each role has a particular name. All those names were enumerated to Agastya Bhagavan. And that is how comes this Lalita Sahasranama. She is also known as Lalita Tripura Sundari. Now, what does the word Lalita mean? Lalita etymologically means the one who is the substratum because of who everything is played upon. Who is that one who is enabling everything. Lalita Yasa La Lalita. Another meaning of it, also that word, that name, is the one who is Lalita Bharana Poshana Kartru. The one who is the actual aspect because of who I am being nourished, I am being taken care of. The one who takes care of every aspect of this creation, that which has been created. Therefore, the Lalita Sahasranama begins with that motherly aspect of hers. Now, one more concept. We read each one of these Puranas, touch upon, without this baseline, it becomes quite confusing. What is the confusion? When you read Vishnu Purana, it is said that Narayana is the substratum, Narayana is the main, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, all the other aspects are from that Narayana. You read Shiva Purana, it says Sadashiva is the main substratum and every other deity is from that Sadashiva. You read Ganesha Purana, they say Mahaganapati is the substratum. So reading through a couple of such Puranas, you come to a point of question mark wherein who exactly is the substratum? What is this confusion? You say it is written by one person, couldn't he have clarified it? Yes, he has clarified it. But in our rush to study, we miss this baseline. That who is referred to as Paramatma, those who are worshipping Bhagavan Vishnu, they refer to that Paramatma as Narayana. The same Paramatma who is worshipped by Shiva is referred to as Sadashiva. The same Paramatma by the Devi Shakta, those who worship Shakti, are called Adi Parashakti. And that same Paramatma who is worshippers of Bhagavan Ganesha, they refer to that Paramatma Swarupa as Mahaganapati. It is the same Tattva, same essence. But that essence can have different nomenclatures, different names. Therefore, when Adi Shankaracharya ji came about, there was a lot of confusion. And sometimes when you go around in India, you still see that confusion, that those who are horizontally lined or aligned and those who are vertically aligned. I am talking of the makeup on the forehead. So once I was in Vrindavan, I wanted something from the shopkeeper, and the shopkeeper would not indulge me. Why? Because I was having 3 horizontal lines, and I thought it was not worthy to even interact with because he was vertical line. And all that I was asking was to purchase Bhagavan Krishna's murti. And he would say, no, this fellow is not worthy of interaction. And we have heard of stories wherein there is animosity, wherein that king who rules and that king's devotion, the rest of them were persecuted. And that animosity was quite prevalent. So what did Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya do? He established a system called Pancha Ayatana. Panchayatana, wherein all these main deities, he said, put them on the same altar. Now when you have all of them on the same altar, the animosity towards the other worshippers, because those deities themselves don't have any animosity towards each other. The greatest Rama mantra was given by Bhagavan Shiva. And when you read Vishnu Sahasranama, we chant that also as Phalashruti. Parvatya Vacha. You know what I'm talking about? Kenopayena Laguna Vishnur Nama Sahasrakam. He says, Oh Bhagavan, I am busy with Kartikeya, Ganesha and your Ganas. I don't have enough time to chant the entire Sahasranama. Can you give me a shortcut? Ishvara Vacha. Ishvara, that Bhagavan Shiva, what did he give? Sri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Mano Rame Sahasranama Tattulyam Ramana Amaranane. Who gave that mantra? Bhagavan Shiva. To whom? To his own wife. He did not tell his wife, Pati Parameshwar. He is Parameshwara. And what did he say? Sri Rama Rama Rameti. And in Ramavatara, just before launching to the other side, before the war, in Rameshwaram, Saikata Linga, a Shiva Linga was formed, made by Bhagavan Rama. And he worships that Shiva. So between them there is no animosity. Lack of the understanding, the animosity, therefore Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya said, have all of them in your altar. Whoever is speaking to you, whoever is the most Ishta, have them in the middle of the 5, the other 4 in all 4 corners. Therefore, you worship all of them, so that the animosity can be removed. Because essentially, Tattvataha, they are the same Paramatma alone. Now that same Paramatma Swarupa is invoked and worshipped as Shakti or Devi. In a very beautiful text called Saundarya Lahari, the very first shloka, it says, Shiva Shaktya Yukto Yadi Bhavati Shakta Prabhavitum Nache Devam Devo Nakalu Kushala Spanditum Api Atasvam Aradhyam Harihara Virinchadinirapi Pranantum Stotum Va Kathamakrita Punya Prabhavati. Such a beautiful concept introduced as the very starting invocation in that Saundarya Lahari. Shivaha Shaktya Yukto. That Paramatma, whatever name you give to that Paramatma, is Nishkriya Swarupa, is independent of any movement or desire. He is independent of his Shakti also. Like for example, I am speaking Can I say that I have the Shakti to speak? बोलने की शक्ति? Yes, no. Okay. Can I stay independent of this Shakti? Meaning, can I keep quiet? It depends, Swamiji. When will you? In a few minutes, we'll reach there. We'll come there. So I can remain independent of it. But if I have to express, I express as and through that Shakti alone. And they are not separate, they are inseparable. And when that Paramatma Swarupa is invoked and worshipped as that Matru Swarupa, her immeasurable Shaktis, and that description is called Lalita Sahasranama. If it is the same Shakti, why Sahasranama? Well, let us take a scenario. A friend of yours, a very good friend of yours, you have not met in last 15-20 years. In the last 15-20 years, you have been married, you have children, you have settled down, and that friend happened to visit that city, and somehow Facebook, WhatsApp, I don't know where, you connected. And said, I am visiting that. And you jumped into the opportunity. Said, if you are visiting, you better stay with us. And you brought that friend. And the rest of them don't know who that fellow is. Rest of your family members don't know. So you invite and you introduce. Name and where they are, whatever, introduction done. But the actual introduction is when say you are having food or after food you are sitting down and you say, now this fellow looks all this, gambhir. But when we were studying, this fellow was the naughtiest in our class. What are you doing? Enriching the rest of them, their minds, to know more in detail about that friend of yours. Isn't it? Though he was naughty, he was the most studious. Second attribute. Don't you go on expanding? Why? So that the other minds which are trying to understand who this person is, get an comprehensive idea, comprehensive picture of that friend. Similarly, there are so many aspects. All those aspects comprehensively to be understood and meditated upon, therefore 1,000 names are being given. And in those 1,000 names, physical attributes of that Devi are described. Arunam Karuna Tarangitakshim. She is that glowing nature. Physical attributes are given from head to toe. Then there are stories wherein this Shakti Swarupini, when she was invoked by Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, when they came together, there was this Asura called Bhandasura Vadotyukta. So this Bhandasura was there, and this Bhandasura had to be annihilated, and in order to bring him down, Shakti had to be invoked, and she appeared in that Shakti Swarupa. So that story is covered. So various such stories of her are covered. From the most essential standpoint, Nirgunatmika, Tattva Swarupatmika, from the most essential standpoint, those attributes are also described. So it is not just one name or one aspect, but a comprehensive idea of all these different different aspects included so that my mind gets a grasp. And that which the mind is clear about, it can meditate further to benefit, because as I meditate, yad bhavam tad bhavati. As it meditates, it gets uplifted, transported to that higher level. Clear? Now, in this aspect of meditation, in this aspect of learning and equipping myself, one should also remember that there are so many times that my mind can be distracted because of my responsibilities, because of my field of experience, because of my various other interactions from the outside world. Therefore, when I interact with that world, there are different glorious aspects of this creation which I cannot avoid. Whenever I interact with it, what should my mind be reminded of? Like, when you are sending your husband to the office and you say you have to pick this up while you're coming. So, in this part of Seattle, I hear a lot of Alexa, do this, Alexa, do that. Or your reminders, the various processes that you keep. Right? Similarly, when I am exposed to the outside world and I interact with that outside world, those glorious aspects of that world, when I am interacting, what am I reminded of? That higher attribute of that Paramatma Swarupa, by which, whether I am interacting outside or sitting inside praying, my mind is constantly fine-tuned to that aspect which helps my mind raise above. Now, with this as a baseline, when we study, understand each word, understand each name that is proposed in Lalita Sahasranama. In other Sahasranamas, you will see that in between, to bring in a meter, to complete a meter, there are a lot of adjoining words that are being used. Lalita Sahasranama's uniqueness is there are no such adjoining words used. They are pure names of Devi. So that I can repeat those names and understand the meaning of it, so that my mind is uplifted. Wish I had more time, because I have just introduced the purposefulness of Lalita Sahasranama and the glory of the 9 days of celebration. If ever she blesses me to have the opportunity in this environment to speak more, at least a baseline is created in our understanding. Hopefully that helps. So I thank Satish Garu and his team of people for giving me the opportunity to be here in her presence to speak